been always from the executive search background for the last 23 years. So working towards sourcing of talent for the clients. And the pandemic, of course, pushed us, everybody at the deep end of the pool. We had to decide how do we change the models, not only the clients, but even we as well. So this year we just launched this talent FluidTal. The reason to launch this, it is not a platform as yet, I would say. The reason to launch was the world started going remote. Asia is not so much still accepting the model of remote as yet, the way it's in Europe and in the US. But it's yet to arrive. But we are not. It's not going to be far away now. The one thing was the geopolitical crisis, the visa regulations, and then the digital acceleration. So the talent availability is only so much, especially in markets like Singapore, wherein we are always having a supply challenge of talents. And then comes when we are looking at remote talent, how do we ensure that the talents are great enough with respect to not just the technical capabilities, but also the other skills with respect to the collaborative mindset? Are they having the critical thinking or not? And, the integrity part which is there. So why would the client come to us even if we need to source a remote talent? So that's where we launch FluidTal. Here, what we do is mainly vetting of the talents. Right now, it's only on the tech space that we are doing on the EQ and IQ. So it's more of an IDE wherein they are candidates work on software code and depending on the skill sets on the mainly on the open sources, and then the EQ questions what the client wants, so we design according to that, and we vet the client candidates for the clients, and then that has helped the clients to see that their hiring accelerated, the speed increased, and the rejections were much lesser. So that has been proving fruitful as yet. We yet have to move towards platform, but we are looking at still moving towards the API docs and sifting through a couple of products before we finalize on a lot of models, because the world is getting so much integrated. It's an API world today. At the same time, there is so much of automation, which is very much inevitable today. And everybody has to create their own niche around that. So before we jump into really, I don't want to be throwing technical jargons here, but let us just understand, a little bit about why we started FluidTal. So what areas are come in the digital transformation overall? If we have to just sum it up, it's at a very surface level, nothing technical. Yeah. So this has been our mission, because we come from a sourcing mindset. So our mindset is, how can we create the more a sustainable remote work when we are talking from a FluidTal, a collaboration mindset, a trust factor. And these are the major areas what we can look with respect to the digital transformation framework. Customer service we are seeing today, right? It has been so very imperative and so important. Then for organizations, the pandemic proved that they had to go through a change of their processes, and they have to become very agile and nimble. And along with the culture, along with that, the changes come in the culture and leadership. Leadership is having the toughest time managing everything with a remote and hybrid environment. And at the same time, we want the teams to be enabled as well. There has to be constant communication. There has been so at times companies were not even ready towards that. So how does all this work? And then behind all of this, the dots are being stitched by the digital technology. So, the technology is going to be the major factor for putting all these things together. So this is just a few areas wherein, the innovations for the new normal are, and the landscape which has been more fluid today, I would say, because we are in a remote and hybrid work. Gone are the days when we are all in one office. Now we are multi-geographies, multi-countries, and it's a totally uncertain environment wherein our demographic have shifted. Our digitization is increasing and increasing. And by the time you realize, like in a blink of an eye, things have changed so much, right? And the landscape of global employment, unemployment, right now we are hearing the great resignation right now. That has led to another huge shortage of labor, and the new models, our jobs of tomorrow, which are going to be more relevant. And in all this bargain, companies are just pushing to be how can they reduce time for hiring be done, and at the same time not just reducing time, but can I get the right person at the right place at the right time? And only that is going to be the success for each and every company. I mean, I'm not sure of what is the number today of the companies that have sprung up in pandemic, but in terms of the digital transformation, I know that I think the business that is expected is something like $4 trillion or anything more than that. So there has been an enormous need in terms of the innovations today. And this is something that we do in terms of just the vetting, that is from the speed per se, and then it is like, to increase to reduce the hiring time and show the success in terms of how productivity of the talent is measured upon with respect to the evaluation done as per the client's needs. Yeah, so this is something that we are doing, the areas that we spoke upon. So the EQ part of it, IQ is there, and then there is reference check. So these are the tests which are more in terms of a match done as per the client needs today. The idea is to take this up to a portal and create a platform wherein there will be vetted talents, at the same time there will be jobs. So yeah, we are not replicating the Uber or the TripAdvisor models, because our end product is a human being and not a car or a hotel. But the idea is, how closer we can be in that space. That is the yeah, and so these are some of the areas where FluidTal works upon. So this is just a bit from the FluidTal per se. But I mean, I would like to touch on certain points maybe when we are talking in terms of the upending the economies, right? So the classic examples what I had seen was in terms of the pandemic which was there. I mean, we have to now move in terms of a customer success. Let us look at customer success, which we can rethink in terms of our business growth. And the digital disruption is not about just the technology, it's all about people, it's all about human experience. And how do we work towards the human experience? The customer service today, we have the buyer behaviors, we have the predictability models, we have the chatbots, we have everything possible. But yet, what is important for an organization to look into? So when we talk in terms of, we cannot have everything just technology doing something and there is no human touch to it. So the companies also need to look into a proactive approach, more from a reactive to proactive approach. That is my thoughts. Absolutely, yeah. I'm not quoting anybody, but I like the example of, there was one example in the Forbes article that was mentioned of the Mediacom Communications. There was a regional cable provider. In 95% of its call center and dispatch workers had to work from home during the pandemic. So what the company did was it invested more in terms of the customer communication technology, adding new ways for the customer to connect through the mobile apps, online support portals, text messaging, etc., 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 so that they don't lose the customers. But in the good thing happened is the customer base increased rather than losing. That was a good thing that has happened. So in all this, I think the leadership is at very much to play, how the leaders look at the directions and how we are moving towards it. So embracing the new norms, the volatile environment, that is what the leaders have to look into. So the leadership strategy, so I mean, while I'm building a portal as well, this is what I'm trying to see, right? How, I mean, I do need data to draw my insights, to draw everything, but I just cannot be dependent on data. We also need to be mindful of what the customer is looking out for, what the end client is looking out for, what the candidate is looking out for. How can this portal strike a right balance between demonstrating genuine care, genuine engagement, and then there is AI and all this. So it's not, AI is being loosely thrown around today, but that is not what we are looking at for. And all said and done, how can customer service improve the company culture? That is finally the core. And companies will never forget that we, in spite of whatever technologies that we are doing in, we don't forget the core of our customer success. That is like real-time information, and we should never shy away from giving the real-time information to the candidates, or be it whoever customers that is there. So I think it's going to be a very big rebalance and to shift to these new digital and remote models. Per se hiring, we are facing a lot of different challenges from the client end, and which are, I think now these are the permanent challenges which are going to remain, right? We are never going to go back to the pre-pandemic era. So I think winning in all this requires a lot of resiliency, our dedication, our mission, and everything that flows around. So this is some areas that we are we as FluidTal are even striving to deliver the human-centric experiences. That's why I did mention in the beginning that yet we are not a portal. We are just going in as professional services with the clients, because we want to also see, are we able to reshape the digital experiences or not for even the particular clients that we are getting into or not, because these times have been so turbulent and everybody has gone through a tough time. So how do we nurture the lifelong challenges again?